Hey world, Trainer Tia here talking about the wide world of supplements today for a gym-based program only. Okay, there's a whole lot of supplements that we can talk about that are sport specific for tri and endurance and otherwise. But today I'm only going to be talking about a gym-based or a physique-based program for your supplements. Okay, so first things first. Okay, we need to keep in mind when you're talking about supplements, the world of supplements is largely unregulated. Unregulated, meaning that a manufacturer could theoretically scrape up some carpet lint and mix it with some toilet water and put a bit of table salt in it and call it a weight loss supplement. And as long as they have a disclaimer on it that states the FDA has not evaluated these claims, blah, 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 as long as they have that disclaimer on it, they don't have to prove anything. And it is very rare that a supplement gets pulled from market because it's dangerous or because it doesn't actually have in it what they say it had in it. It's like the Wild West, okay? So keep that in mind. Supplements are not like drugs. Drugs are heavily regulated. Supplements are not, okay? So it is a buyer's beware market, meaning that you really don't know if what they say is in the supplement is in there, okay? So keep that in mind at all times when we're talking about supplements, okay? What else do we have on here? Right. So when we're talking about supplements, think about the name. All right. A lot of people want to use a supplement in place of a strong program when a supplement is meant to supplement a strong program. Okay. So you should have killer diet, killer exercise, killer lifestyle, killer sleep. Everything else should be on point before you're relying on your supplement to come bail you out. Okay. So if you're looking for a supplement as something that's going to do the work, it's not going to work for very long. All right, so keep that in mind. Supplements are supplements, not replacements, okay? All right, so first, let's get into types of supplements that I recommend on a gym-based program. Number one, the heavy hitter, the pre-workout, okay? Everybody wants to talk about pre-workouts, all right? And so I have mixed feelings about these. So if you look at the bottom of my paper here, pre-workouts are really great for somebody who works out at night after a long, stressful day at work and they just need a little bit of a kick to get things going at night. Or it's great for doubles, okay? So if you're the kind of athlete that does doubles, 2 workouts a day, 1 in the morning and 1 at night, you might need something a little bit extra going into that second workout, and I totally approve of that, okay? Also, down here, you might want to consider cycling on and off of your pre-workout, okay? And I'll talk about why here in a second. But if you're dependent on that pre-workout 7 days a week all the time, you're headed for a crash, okay? And everybody knows that intuitively. Just keep that in mind, okay? So let's talk about types of pre-workouts. There are really 2 families, okay? First is a caffeine or a stimulant-based pre-workout. These are what are primarily on the market, okay? And these are going to kick your ass, meaning that you will see a boost. They're gonna blow your system out, okay? You're gonna feel so motivated and so high energy that there is a crash. There is a cost to that, okay? So when you're looking at a caffeine or a stimulant-based pre-workout like C4, Mr. Hyde, GAT, there's a ton of examples. You go into GNC, you can find 1,000 examples, right? But they definitely work. But my caveat is, if you notice that they light you up so much that you feel like you're jittery and that you can't focus because you're so amped up, you are going to crash. And if you don't feel that crash today or tomorrow, you take that pre-workout 5 days a week for a month, it's going to cause a problem, okay? What happens, and this is beyond the scope of this video, but what happens is when your adrenaline is surging up on that pre-workout, there's another hormone that comes into play to bring the system down at some point, and that's called cortisol. And cortisol is the enemy of all things fitness. It will shut off your fat burning, shut off your muscle building, shut off your recovery. It's horrible, okay? So if you're blowing your system out with a caffeine-based pre-workout all the time, consider cycling on and off of it, or consider getting something more mild. How much caffeine is too much caffeine? That depends on the person, right? So your individual threshold might be 250 milligrams, whereas she might get away with 450, he might get away with 6, whereas you might be sensitive and you might only be able to take 100 before you experience that adrenal burnout. Best piece of advice, listen to your body. If you're way up, guess what? You're coming way down, okay? So consider then the type of pre-workout that I've taken for years is a B vitamin based pre-workout, okay? So these are a little bit more mild. You're gonna get a B vitamin flush, which means that your face might get a little tingly, a little bit hot if you're not used to it. And these are like 5-hour energies, E-Boost or some of the vegetarian options for pre-workouts. They are more mild in terms of the boost that they give you, if they give you any boost. But that being said, because it's a more mild boost, it's a more mild come down afterwards, okay? So when you're selecting your pre-workout, if you're a good candidate to take them, consider the costs of having a pre-workout that brings you sky high, okay? Because the costs are real, and if they're not immediate, they're coming down the road, okay? So B vitamin ones are what I typically recommend, but find what works for you if you feel like you need that pre-workout, okay? One more note on pre-workouts, one more thought. If you feel like you literally cannot work out without a supplement, then you're fucking weak and you need to consider trying to push yourself beyond that limit. Okay, so moving on to the next. All right, so next key supplement, protein powder. All right, this is another big one. All right, this is something that I have every single client at all times on a protein powder. All right, so this is a must have. Nobody comes into the gym and eats enough protein on day one. Literally nobody, okay? So the protein powder is just there to supplement in addition to your dietary intake of protein on the side, okay? So it's a must-have protein powder, but the world of protein powder is kind of confusing. There's a million protein powders out there. Which kind is best? Which brand is best? When do you take it? There's a whole bunch of topics that surround protein powder, okay? So basically when we're looking at what kind do you need, we look to, there's a body value scale, okay? BV scale. This scale ranks efficiency of protein, meaning how much you take in versus how much your body uses. If your body is using more of what you take in, it's more efficient, it gets a higher score. If your body ends up pushing out or excreting part of the protein source, then and even more of the protein source, that's going to give it a lower body value scale, okay? So not all types are created equal, all right? So when we're looking at the body value scale, you know, when the scale was invented back in the 90s, before these designer whey proteins came out, egg whites used to be the gold standard of protein, okay? So egg whites are a really efficient, really clean, lean protein that have been around for however long. So egg whites used to be the gold standard, but now that these manufacturers are mastering whey protein powders, and they're coming out with hyper efficient whey protein powders, particularly whey protein isolate. Whey comes in at the body value scale at a 170, okay? So whey protein powder is 170, egg whites are 100, they used to be the gold standard. If you can stomach dairy, take whey protein, it's far more efficient, and that's gonna give you the most bang for your buck, okay? Egg whites are a close second if you can't do dairy. If you can't do either of those, a vegetarian option works well. I personally can't do egg whites or whey. I used to be able to, and then one day my stomach just said, fuck off, T, you can't do it anymore. So I'm on a vegetarian blend right now. It's a pea, rice, hemp mix, and my stomach takes it all right. So if you're able to stomach whey, go for it. If not, then move down the scale, okay? What else do I have on here? So final note about protein powder, it's probably not gonna taste very good, okay? Just get over it, all right? It's like a vitamin, you just take it. Find one that is clean on ingredients, and that's a whole different topic of what makes a clean ingredient or what makes a clean protein powder blend. But find one that's clean and that you can tolerate. If you can find one that tastes better than a 6 out of 10, you're doing really well, okay? So don't shoot for the moon and some decadent indulgence with your protein powder, okay? Just fucking drink it. Find one that's clean enough that you can take, and take it after every lifting session, okay? All right. Next, all right, so number 3, we're looking at the multivitamin, okay? So this is another key supplement that I have literally every client take, okay? Now, there is a lot of debate about the multivitamin, okay? If you're watching this and you're on team fuck the multivitamin, you're not into it, then you're probably rolling your eyes at me right now. But here's the thing with the multivitamin, all right? I hear you people out there. A lot of people, the critics will say that, oh, you're just paying for expensive pee or whatever. You're not using that multivitamin. You're peeing bright yellow or bright green after, and you're wasting that product. And whilst that is somewhat true, I will acknowledge that virtually everybody that takes a loaded multivitamin is going to pee bright yellow for a little while. You get into, well, what if you're only peeing out and you're only not using part of that multivitamin, but you are getting some benefit from the other parts of that multivitamin? It's impossible to draw the line and figure out what you're using and what you're not using. Well, I guess it is possible if you have access to expensive lab tests, but you're splitting hairs at this point. The bottom line is, with the quality of our nutrients and this is kind of down a wormhole here, but bear with me. With the quality of nutrients and soil degradation and chemicals and pesticides being used on livestock and on the grass and in the corn and in the soy, and the nutrients aren't the same as what they used to be. There's lots of studies on this. If you want to talk about them, let me know. But I'm a firm believer in the multivitamin because nutrition just isn't what it used to be with all the food additives and bullshit that goes into food these days. So you know what? If you're peeing out 40% of your multivitamin, you're keeping 60% of it in your body, then just fucking take it, okay? I really, truly believe that I feel a difference when I take my multivitamin versus when I don't. So for the non-believers out there, you don't want to take it, that's fine. If you're on the fence, I take one. I have all my clients take one. I firmly believe in it. And we're not talking a Centrum here, a Centrum or a 1 a day. Those are basic, okay? On a scale of 1 to 10, that's like a 3, the Centrum, okay? We're a 1 or a 0 would be nothing. So a Centrum's better than nothing, but a 10 out of 10 would be one of these vitamins that's specifically engineered for you, and you pee on a test strip and send it to a company and they make something specifically for you, and that's really nice. That's also very expensive. So if we can strike the right price point between a Centrum and one of these individualized vitamins for about $40 a month, which is what I recommend, you're going to get some benefit out of that. Take the multivitamin. Probably going to taste bad, but once again, be a fucking grown-up and take your vitamin, okay? All right, so next supplement here is the BCAAs. All right, there's a lot of buzz about BCAAs, but a lot of people just don't know what they are. So a BCAA it's a protein, right? So it's a branched chain amino acid, okay? So most amino acids look like this, okay? This is a simple example, all right? So if you're like a biochemistry major, please don't hate me, all right? I'm not an artist, but most amino acid sequences look like this. They're relatively simple. A branched chain amino acid looks something like this. This looks fun, right? So it's designed to penetrate, I hate using that word, but I just used it, penetrate into cells faster, more efficiently, so it gets you recovered faster, okay? Basically, branched chain amino acids are hyper efficient, okay, because of their structure. And so the 3 branched chain amino acids are leucine, isoleucine, and valine, okay? So you're gonna find these in pretty much, I believe, most protein sources. In your protein powder, it's gonna break it down by each amino acid, how much of it is in that protein powder, okay? So, you hear a lot of people buzzing about supplementing extra BCAAs on top of the protein powder. The protein powder is already going to have BCAAs in it. Bottom line, I've done a lot of personal research and academic research on BCAAs, and bottom line, if you're getting it in your protein powder and you're eating diverse protein sources in your diet, if you're recreational, you're probably getting enough of the BCAAs between your protein powder and the rest of your diet, okay? You probably don't need extra. If you are competitive, and I'm talking fitness model, bodybuilding competitor, stage competitor, then you might want to supplement with extra, and the timing varies. There's a lot of people that say take the BCAAs before, take them during the workout, take them after, take them before you go to bed. If you are on that level, then I suspect that you probably either have a coach or you've done some research on your own to figure out what your timing of BCAAs need to be. But bottom line, if you're recreational, if you're not doing a show or a shoot, you probably don't need extra aside from what's in your protein powder, okay? Next, all right, my favorite, the fucking fat burners, the builders, and the other quick fixes, okay? Based on what we talked about in the beginning about how it is a buyer's beware market. Supplements are unregulated. They've killed people in the past. They've caused complex medical conditions. Companies have been caught to be fraudulent in mislabeling what's actually in their supplements. So, buyers beware. Be careful when it comes to these quick fixes, okay? If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, okay? And, it might work short term. A lot of these pills really do work short term. But what happens when you go off of the magic pill? You didn't learn anything. You didn't learn the right habits. You didn't learn self-control. You didn't learn discipline. You didn't learn what food really is. You didn't learn good habits, okay? So when you cycle off of that magic pill, you're no better than when you started, and you will gain back whatever progress that you made with that magic pill, okay? So be very careful. These companies are really good at marketing these supplements and making them very appealing. Okay, so take it from me, I don't fuck with that stuff. You can do it naturally, and it's more sustainable and it's healthier because you don't know what's in that stuff. Okay, so the best, safest fat burner on the market is caffeine. Drink that coffee, drink that black tea. Don't blow your adrenals out like we talked about earlier. Know your caffeine limits for the day. But if you're hungry, have some caffeine, okay? That's going to suppress your appetite. It's going to burn fat. That is you have the green light from me on that one. Don't blow it up. Don't overdo it. But caffeine is a powerful fat burner that most people don't even really use, okay? So remember with the punchline with these quick fixes, there are no long-term studies that show that these either A, actually work long-term, and B, don't have serious ramifications on your health long-term. Be very careful. Please do it the right way, okay? Finally, creatine. All right, this is the last one. Creatine is literally, potentially, the only supplement on the market that has long-term success, okay? Creatine is a highly effective muscle builder. Some protein powders and stacks are gonna have creatine in them. I recommend creatine monohydrate, not hydrochloride. That's a different discussion for a different day. But what is creatine? Why does it work? It is such an effective muscle builder. Whenever I want to build muscle, I'm taking creatine, okay? If I got a guy that wants to bulk up for football or hockey or whatever, I've got him on creatine, okay? And it's safe for women too if you want to get into a building phase, okay? So how does it work? All right, so basically, we're going to go back to your high school chemistry class. All right, so ATP, adenosine triphosphate, this is energy, okay? So when you're working out, when your body's consuming energy or it's expending energy, it's consuming ATP if it's doing it in an anaerobic fashion, okay? Aerobic is a little bit different, but let's pretend you're weightlifting. You're consuming ATP when you work out. That's energy, okay? So when you use ATP, when you use a molecule of ATP, it loses a phosphate group and it becomes adenosine diphosphate, right? So it loses a phosphate group, it becomes ADP. Creatine phosphate, your body makes it naturally, okay? Creatine phosphate comes in and lends its phosphate group up to ADP and recycles it back up to ATP. And so creatine phosphate is critical for energy reproduction, energy recycling. It can let you go longer, faster, stronger, better. It is critical for an anaerobic workout, okay? So your body already makes creatine phosphate. When you supplement with extra, it just speeds that process up, okay? So, and it speeds up recovery post-workout as well, okay? So if you're looking to build muscle, I highly recommend creatine. You can look up 10-year, 20-year studies on this stuff, and it is safe, and it is so well documented, okay? So if there's one thing to really trust me on, it is creatine, okay? So I think that's it. I think I've talked enough. There's the world of supplements, okay? So you just need a couple of basics. Remember that. And bottom line, if you take nothing away from this, okay, nothing else, this is the key. Remember, a supplement is meant to supplement the rest of your strong program. It does not replace, okay? So if you're looking for that shortcut, honey, it doesn't exist, okay? It doesn't exist. And if you do think that it exists, it is risky and you only get one body. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to risk anything long-term with some mystery pill that didn't have to be proven coming to market, that was never tested coming to market from some company that just wants your money. So do it the right way. Supplements are meant to supplement, not replace. And I think that's it. I'm rambling. Leave your comments, leave your questions. Happy to take your suggestions on future videos. I think I can break down protein a little bit more on future videos too. But Trainer Tia out. Happy supplementing.